Hello, everyone. God bless y'all. Welcome to Pastor Jerone TV. Yes. Had a wonderful weekend. Enjoyed myself. And came back and there's this news about George Floyd. He's dead. Killed at the hands of a police officer. George Floyd, a black man. Killed at the hands of a police officer. And he happened to be a white police officer there in Minnesota. The other police officer was the accomplice. He was an Asian police officer. George Floyd was said to be, or to have fit the description of a man who was writing fraudulent checks there in some of the banks there in Minnesota. They said he fit the description. They didn't say that he was definitely the one, but that he fit the description and that he was suspected of writing fraudulent checks. He died. He died. He no longer lives. He's gone. He's gone into judgment. His life has ended on this earth because the police officer choked him out to death because he was the suspect of writing. He was suspected of writing a fraudulent check. That, in that police officer's mind, I guess he deserved the death penalty for that. Back in the old days, back in my day, they used to call it blue-collar crime or white-collar crime. Blue-collar crime was mostly crimes of lower income people, black people, which was robbery, murders, stealing, strong arm robbery, stuff like that. White collar crime was when, you had kind of white people, educated folks, who would write bad checks, stuff like that, and they would go and do federal time if they did time at all, if they didn't just have to pay a small fine, return the money. But so this kind of fit that description. It was a white collar crime, but yet he was a black man and the police officer was white and he died. And listen to me. I'm not trying to push race stuff like that, but you would have to be a blind person to think that racism doesn't exist in the heart of some people. Racism exists in the heart of some people. You can create laws and safe places and all kinds of stuff like that and try to make sure it doesn't exist or make sure it's not enforced. But you give a person the power of that badge, a police officer, where they have seen other police officers shoot black men who are running away from them, no weapon, and they still get off because they say they feared for their lives. Hey, if you was the type of person that hated people and you wanted to kill them, all you have to do is get a police officer, just go to academy, get the badge, and you could kill these people at will and get paid administrative leave while they investigate, and then come back and get all that back pay for the extra overtime and stuff that you wasn't getting. Some of these police officers get like packages, workers' compensation. They get, stress and all that kind of stuff. Some of them getting $300,000 and $400,000 because they filed lawsuits for their stress and their pain and their heartache because they was just trying to enforce the law when they killed this person. Yeah, well, anyway, the video shows the police officer committing murder. I think it was said that Greg Lloyd was resisting arrest because he was telling them that he has a condition, that he was claustrophobic, that he did not want to get in the back of the car because he was claustrophobic. Claustrophobic is a fear of being in tight, closed-in places. And when you have these fears, these phobias, you could probably have a panic attack, your heart rate goes up, your breathing gets sporadic and erratic. You start going through a panic. This stuff is real because I did it I was lifting some weights, and I must have stretched a nerve or something like that. I had a pinched nerve, had to go get an MRI. They put me in this little tube, and after about 5 minutes, I started having a panic attack. I told the technician to let me out. I went out in the hallway, gave myself a pep talk, and told myself I can do this. Went back in there, told the technician, give me another try. He let me back in there. They put some blinders over my eyes and music in my ear, and I tried it again, but I couldn't do it. They had to put me in a bigger machine, because I guess I now have a fear of being in these tight spaces. It was like being in a casket. But anyway, he had the man with his arms behind his back. Arms behind his back. You got the cuffs on him. You got your weight. He looked to be the police officer, put his knee on the man's neck, and he cut off the air and the blood supply through that carotid artery, and he was on his neck for 10 minutes until he was dead. He put all of his weight on that man for 10 minutes, okay, until he was dead. Okay, I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, but if you're laying on your stomach and your arms are behind your back, your ribs can't expand. That means your lungs can't expand to get air. You have to get small amounts of air in at a time. So you got your weight that's stopping your ribs from expanding and your lungs from getting air. Now put another man who's about 185 pounds on your back, and then put his knee into your neck, and see how well you come out of it. Okay? It's not going to be a pretty scene. And that police officer made sure he kept his weight on that man's neck. And the people were pleading with the police officer to check his pulse. He's not moving. He hasn't been moving. You're going to kill him. The man himself, George Floyd, he begged the officer. He pleaded for his life. He pleaded for his life at the hands of people who were sworn in to protect and serve the general public. And this is what you do with the badge of power that you have. Listen to me. The man needs to be arrested for murder right now, both of them. Both cops need to be arrested for murder. I looked up the general attorney there in Minnesota. And guess who he is? He's a man named Keith Ellison. Y'all remember during the time of Brett Kavanaugh's hearing, and he was being sworn in, they rolled out this woman and said that Brett Kavanaugh did something to her 30 years back in high school. Keith Ellison and the Democrats were saying that you have to believe every woman, that you, no matter what, you have to believe her, they believe every woman. Well, anyway, during that same time, when Brett Kavanaugh was being sworn in, the girlfriend of Keith Ellison came forward. She's a white woman. Keith Ellison's a black man. And Keith Ellison's also very closely associated with Louis Farrakhan and the Muslims. There are a lot of Muslims there in Minnesota. And so Keith Ellison, his girlfriend came out with videos and texts, and her daughter came out and was proving the fact that Keith Ellison beat her mom and beat her, which was his girlfriend. He physically beat her. But the media squashed that story. So Keith Ellison is a proponent of the Black Lives Matter, and he happens to be the Attorney General there in Minnesota, which means he has the power to arrest these officers who killed that black man who was unarmed, whose black life was taken away, and that he has the power to have them arrested right now. But let's see what he does. Let's see what happens. Okay? Let's see what happens with Attorney General Keith Ellison. All right? He also helped to get that woman in there, one of the three, the squad, the Muslim one, the one that married her brother. I forget her name. he helped her get that position because she's Muslim. And but anyway, I think it's going to come down to this, because it's not safe out here for these black men. They're going to have to make the black man an endangered species, because the black people only make up about 19% of the overall population. Planned Parenthood is killing a lot of the black population. Black men are killing black men, and white police officers are killing black men. I don't know what kind of law you can come up with, but the only thing that I can think of is to make the black man an endangered species. That way, their mamas can't go and abort them. And if their black brothers kill them, they will suffer the greatest penalty there is, which should be the death penalty. And any police officer who kills an unarmed black man will suffer the death penalty, because this right here, what you just saw, that's death penalty worthy, because it was flat out murder out in the open and it was caught on video. You killed that man. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Okay? Writing a bad check, if he did do it, does not deserve the death penalty. But killing another man for no reason deserves the death penalty. Okay? And that's my thoughts on all of that. I wonder what President Donald Trump is going to say about this, because this is national news and this is murder. And they need to be arrested immediately. They don't need to be on no paid administrative leave. Cut the money off and arrest those criminals right now. All right? I'll see y'all in the next video.